What is up, my gaming peeps, and welcome to another episode of Just the Facts with yours truly. Today we are addressing the issues surrounding EA Games and some other companies which are going through similar endeavours. Today we will be exploring how this happened, what has been said about it and why. I'll also be shoving in my own opinions here and there. So with that, let's find out what I discovered and get on with the show. So, EA Games has laid off a substantial portion of staff members at Firemonkeys, the publisher's Australian development studio. Firemonkeys was initially formed in 2012 from a merger of EA's Firemint and Iron Monkey Studios, and said companies are responsible for Real Racing 3, The Sims Freeplay, Need for Speed, No Limits, and other mobile titles. So basically it's one of those mobile gaming company things. So this news comes during a particularly fraught time in the game industry. As we know, late last year, unfortunately, Telltale Games laid off most of its staff in a single day, and then suddenly collapsed, which led to anger on social media. Then in February of this year, Activision Blizzard laid off 8% of its workforce, despite record earnings. Fear and insecurity among developers has put renewed focus on efforts to unionize the industry. One organization, Game Workers Unite, even has the vocal support of the AFL-CIO. So the confirmation comes that around 350 of EA Games employees are being laid off across its marketing, publishing and operations divisions. The publisher says it is also ramping down its presence in Japan and Russia as it seeks different ways to serve its players in those markets. You know, I'm not really sure how to feel about this. I mean, it's sad for the people getting laid off, but I can't help but find it hilarious. You know, due to the fact this is a company that primes itself and bases itself on the ideals of online play and microtransactions within games. So the fact they are basically shutting down that mobile division of gaming comes as quite a shock, considering that's where most of their money's been at. Like, bit of a head scratcher, that one. So EA CEO Andrew Wilson has addressed the layoffs in a statement, telling employees that while the publisher had a vision to be the world's greatest company, that's in major quotation marks, if you could see my air quotes there, that was unreal. And he goes on to say, if we're honest with ourselves, we're not there right now. Yeah, maybe try making more singular-based story games instead of all online play. I think what they're saying there is that they were wrong to say singular-based story games are dead, and that their whole online play philosophy thing they've got going on to put more money in their pockets is failing miserably, you know? So anyway, he continues to say, we have work to do with our games, our player relationships and our business. As we look across a changing world around us, it's clear that we must change with it as well. A second EA spokesperson said in a separate statement, we're making deliberate moves to better deliver on our communities and commitments, refine our organisation and meet the needs of our players. I mean, again, to me, this is absolutely hysterical. Like, the company that locks any extra content and major DLCs behind a paywall says it's not there right now. Just has me creasing up with laughter. I mean, I'm laughing just reading that back to myself. You know, not to mention, this is a company that said singular-based story games were dead, and the future was with online play and microtransactions. I mean, these layoffs just prove that EA Games may not be long for this world for very much longer. With layoffs on a scale like this, it can only mean that the company could possibly be in serious trouble. So anyway, in light of these moves, EA says that around 350 employees will most definitely be laid off. These are important but very hard decisions, they say. and we do not take them lightly. The quote goes on to say, "We are friends and colleagues at EA. We appreciate and value everyone's contributions, and we are doing everything we can to ensure we are looking after our people to help them through this period to find their next employment opportunity. This is our top priority." You know, they said this is our top priority. But you see, I'm not really sure the 350 staff members getting the can will see it that way. EA say that they're all a family and they're at their company and they want to take care of their family, so to speak. But as a person who's been laid off and made redundant from a job I seriously enjoyed myself, I can only feel for what these people must be going through. It's not easy to get into new employment when you are laid off from a job. All you can say to a new employer is, "I was made redundant." Sure, you'll get a referral from the company that let you go, but it just doesn't look good on a resume to any new employer you come across, because they'll be like, "Well, yeah, you were made redundant, but were you good at your job?" You know, even though you might get a good reference from the company that laid you off, it's like, were you good at your job? Is that why they chose you to be laid off? You know, you get what I'm trying to say there, guys. However, anyway, the publisher has noted that it will be attempting to find positions elsewhere in the company for employees. See, I find this unlikely after layoffs on this scale. Where else could they go? Because it'd be a bad case of, are we going to get laid off in this extra part of the company? They have also said they would also be providing severance to those losing their jobs, so basically any unbooked holidays and sick days will be paid in full. It is rather strange how EA's announcement comes a little over a month after one of Activision's partner companies, Blizzard, confirmed it would be laying off around 800 employees. So as I mentioned earlier in the video, that 8% of their workforce. I can't believe 800 employees comes down to 8% of a workforce. I mean, that is a serious amount of layoffs. I mean, what is going on within these companies to just lay off its employees like this? I mean, when it came down to Telltale Games, it was a bad case of they went bust and shut down because of a lawsuit that was out of their control. But still, it's like when you get laid off, or when companies do layoffs on a scale this grand, you kind of start thinking to yourself, is this it? Is this the end of this company? But yeah, this also comes as a shock, really, considering that the company's financial results in 2018 were the best in their history. So laying off 800 employees, again, doesn't make any sense after their finances were just way up on the charts. So what could this mean for EA Games and Activision? Is it possible that these companies that have produced such amazing titles over the last few years, not recently, I mean, after all, due to nothing but online here and there games, but seriously, this could mean like the start of a major company layoff or a major company closure. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, as we saw with Telltale Games, which produced extremely popular series of games, had some serious issues, laid off staff members, then just abruptly shuts down. It would be a shame to see them go. EA Games or Activision, even though EA Games hasn't been that great in the way of big titles recently. But it would be a huge shame due to the fact that I practically grew up playing games produced by EA and Activision. So there were the original Spider-Man games. I played a couple of the FIFA games back when I liked football on PS1. Things like that. Just it's those kind of games that you grow up with, and then you expand upon their universes, and they produce newer content. Older content gets moved on to different companies, and it's a shame if those original companies that produce those original games just go. So with what I've learned and sought out, it would appear that for the moment it's only the Australian division of EA Games that could potentially be shutting down after major layoffs. But as I mentioned earlier, could this mean more trouble for EA's other divisions across the entire board? It would be a real shame. Again, even though, as I mentioned in the video, that EA Games think that singular-based story games are dead and the future's with online, it would still be a shame because they are a major producer in today's gaming industry, like Telltale Games, for example. And we were all sad and upset when Telltale Games went, and even though EA Games' ideals on games these days aren't what we all think, we would still be sad to see them all go. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. Do you think it's the start of a major layoff? Do you think the company's just done? Do you think there's going to be any more problems between EA and Activision? Do you think they're going to merge and those employees that were laid off could get their jobs back? It is always possible. I mean, with layoffs like this, you never know. I mean, like again with Telltale Games, for example, their staff members were redundant, yes, but the majority of them were taken back and now work for Skybound Entertainment. So we could see more games from the Telltale universe, but under the guys, whatever you pronounce it as Skybound Entertainment, so Wolf Among Us, Tales from the Borderlands, things like that. It would be really interesting to see what the future holds for EA Games and Activision anyway, because it's just they're two companies that really make you want to grab them by the sack really and say, well, fuck you for doing this and thank you for doing this at the same time. As I've mentioned in the video, even though EA Games is all about online games and they think singular-based story games are dead, you still want to thank them for all the years of producing such amazing gaming content. It's the same with Activision as well. I mean, even though they're going the same way these days with online play and whatnot, you still want to thank them and say, please don't go, kind of deal, like we all did with Telltale Games. But anyway, guys, I think that's it for this episode. I hope you all enjoyed it. Drop me a like if you did. If you're new to the channel, make sure you smash that like button and drop me a subscribe as well. I always sub back to new subscribers and view any content you may be producing. Shout out to all subscribers, old and new, most recent of which being Kickalus1000. Appreciate the sub, dude, and appreciate the love and support from my entire community throughout this 90-day streaming ban series. Speaking of which, the series has now come to its conclusion. I did my last video yesterday, it was Star Trek Online. And this is due to the fact that we will now be able to live stream again on Tuesday. So I cannot tell you how stoked I am to be able to live stream again. I mean, no more of this 40-minute crap and having to cap off a video in the middle of a mission because I've run out of time to share it, save the share and upload it. So that's out the way. We can now live stream and forget about that. Let me know what you want to see from me in live streaming. As I've said before, do you want to see a long play video of a game? I can just binge play an entire game and live stream the whole thing. Do you want to see me play a series of games throughout the day? So any number of games, just let me know and I'll be more than willing to do it. But yeah, with the streaming ban coming to its conclusion, I'm just going to be taking a couple of days off so I can grind a couple of games. Prep myself for the mountain of games that I'm going to be streaming and bringing you guys this year. Again, let me know what you want to see from me. I'm seriously considering streaming We Happy Few. Days Gone when I get it. I'll definitely be doing Days Gone when I get it. I've already emailed Sony and asked them if it's okay. Fair enough, they haven't got back to me and I don't expect them to. But if I get copyrighted for it, at least I've got that email as evidence saying, well, no, hang on a minute. I asked you if I could do this and you've copyrighted me. And, so, yeah, undo the copyright, please. I asked and you didn't reply, sort of deal. I'm not making that mistake again that I did with the Grand Tour game. I can assure you of that. I don't want my channel blocking. But yeah, this has been Just the Facts with Gamerdude. Happy gaming. And I hope to catch you all real soon, guys. Thank you so much.